Hey everybody, Brian here from quantlabs.net. Well, I got some fantastic news for you all who may be following MOTIVEWAVE and what I'm trying to accomplish with it. Did a online teleconference with the fine folks over at MOTIVEWAVE, traded some ideas, came back with an amazing solution I want to show you. So first off, I want to say thank you for everybody at MOTIVEWAVE. They know who they are to making this capability for not really me, but for everybody who wants to use an amazing platform that I've highlighted here in my playlist under the Quant Labs YouTube channel. And I have a playlist, as I said here, called MOTIVEWAVE. I got a few videos, so this will be the new one. And in there, I have a video I put out called Experimenting with MOTIVEWAVE, Java SDK, and Redis NOSQL. There in that video, you'll see how I was not able to use third-party Java jar files with MOTIVEWAVE, specifically around Redis NOSQL. I'm going to show you what can be done now. This is a custom build for myself for MOTIVEWAVE. To enable this, and it's, as I said, it's a rare treat to get a company like this and a platform to enable this type of feature. I'm hoping and I'm sure that this feature will become in a new release of MOTIVEWAVE. And again, I have no affiliation with them at this point, but I just want to show you the power of this platform, what I think is probably easily the top retail trading platform out there on Mac and Windows, and what makes it even better than the Windows platforms, it runs on Mac, and a good chunk of folks like us are on Mac. So we have this absolutely amazing platform that's now very, very developer friendly, and that's what makes it way light years ahead of everything else I've seen. It is in Java, but who cares? You can now run this on Linux, Windows, and there may be a version down the line, I don't know when, that will run on Linux. And that will even make this platform even more powerful and put it light years ahead of even Duca's Copy J4X, which is probably the best 4X platform out there. But we know about 4X on it. But this is where we're going to continue. So what we were challenged with was not being able to load in external Java jar files into the platform. With this particular build, again, I've got IQFeed running, as you can see here, so I can get all the market data I want with IQFeed, and this is what makes it even more special from the fine folks over at IQFeed for enabling me to do this with IQFeed on top of running it with MOTIVEWAVE. Absolutely amazing. So in here, what I've been talking about is in this previous video I highlighted, you now have the ability to load in your Java jar files with third party. Specifically for me, it's about Redis. Okay, so in here we have two types of Java files. We have our strategies and our studies. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm sure you can learn those on your own, but just so you understand, they can be kind of confusing, but once you understand them, they're fairly simple. So in here we have a study, and I'll show you how that works in a minute. But what I have is I have a study that works. I have two changes I've made in this particular out-of-box study. One that will create and testing the ability with Java Core to be able to write to a text file on my system, on my file system, or my drive, basically, for those that are the techie people out there. The other thing is to play around with CSV files. Mission accomplished. Great. So now what I've been wanting to do, that I've been challenged with, but we've now no longer challenged with this custom build of MOTIVEWAVE, we now have the ability to include the ability to connect into Java. Okay. So what we're talking about is, or sorry, not connect into Redis from a study that is running on your system. So we have MOTIVEWAVE here running no different. But the thing is that we have this study, not strategy, but study running. And as I showed in the source code, we now have the ability to connect into Redis. So we have Redis, the server, running here on my console. We also have RD Manager or Redis Desktop Manager running. So I have, if you've seen my strategy I've been running, I've got two files that I'm just playing around with, one called key and then the value. So it's a simple key value table. Okay, very simple. I just want to test the capabilities. I'm able to talk to Redis now from within MOTIVEWAVE, a study or a strategy. But this is powerful. And as you can see in the source code, we now have that capability. So from the coding perspective, all we're doing is connecting into the local host running of Redis. And I've got some debug statements to show, yes, it's running. It's running. Now here's the key. As a test to ensure you have your connection running, we do a ping. That's from within Redis, the commands that Redis has. And then I expect to see a pong in my debug statement. On top of that, I'm going to do a simple set of creating a new table. Or let's just call it, I'm going to update a new table. So I'm going to just do a simple coding change just to show you this is not hocus pocus stuff, and just call it value sample MA cross 3. This is not exciting stuff for most people. For me it is, and I'm going to tell you why. So I save. I'm showing you how to do this within the other previous videos on MOTIVEWAVE. Come into build here to update everything. And then you just do a run as and run the ant script to do a new build. Always make sure you get a successful build from within your Eclipse or whatever IDE you use. So I have a successful build, which is great. Couple of things I want you to take away here. Very important. So if you're fairly knowledgeable on Java and the architecture of Java, we have Java archive files. So this is the Java archive file, or jar file as it's called for short, for Redis. That is the library or jar file that enables me to connect into that, import all the objects of this jar file into my code. So in here, if you're new to this, what we're speaking of is being able to basically import in Redis as an equivalent of a package from the Python world. But let me just make sure right here. This is the line you need to include. Import this guy, which is going to now call and be able to, now you can instantiate all your Redis calls from within that jar file I just showed you. The other key behind it is the location of this jar file. So when you get MOTIVEWAVE running down the line, when they have this capability available, all you got to do is make sure you put the jar file in your user directory, and wherever you have MOTIVEWAVE extensions, there's a new folder called ext, and you put your Java or your Java jar file into that directory so your code can access that from within the your code. So that's the code I'm just showing you right now. Okay. So again, let me just go over the code, keeping it real simple here. Where am I? Where is the example? Right here. So what we're doing, again, for those that are new, we are going to call the database that's running right now on localhost. This can be remote, I might add, with all the clustering, all the redundancy, all the power that Redis gives you. On top of, you've got some debug statements. This one plus the ping. So I expect to see the pong in that debug statement. And then I'm going to create a new, well, not new, a new table, or it's really an update. And then just, it's a key, and then update it with the value of this value sample MA cross 3. Currently right now, it's 2. So what we're going to do, go into MOTIVEWAVE here, and now we relaunch our study. Under the study menu here, you come under example. Where are you? Hello. Right here. So I do believe it's called sample moving average cross. I can easily show you how to, that's easy. Right here, sample MA cross, and then here in the profile of the admin of the console, we know that the name defined within MOTIVEWAVE is called what I just said, sample moving average cross. Awesome. So now we create, and that's all you need to do. So now if you want to confirm everything, there's two things I would probably do. Just come under display or view display, then study log, and in there you should see everything you need to see. So again, it's connected, it's Redis server is running. Remember I talked about here in the code, where's the code? Oh, I'm always getting myself confused. So the code I just showed you, it's in here. I know. Here we go. So this statement right here, this is what I just showed you. Redis server is running. So now it's sending a ping, and the response within that debug statement will be Pong, and that's what we got. As you can see here, connection to from Redis server is running, and then we get the Pong. So we know it's running. On top of that, if I go into and reload my Redis client here, this RDM or Redis Desktop Manager, you'll see here it's updated from cross 2 to cross 3. So it's exactly working the way that I wanted to talk about. So you may go, well, oh, that's not really exciting, but here's the power. This version of Redis that I'm running is version 3, an older version. So I'm going to test out this now with a brand new version of Redis 5, and this is where it gets really exciting. Redis 4 is pretty powerful, but now we have something called Redis Streams. This is unbelievably very, very powerful. So now I can push all and stream that data into my Redis, hopefully soon to be cluster of data, and then have other scripts like you've seen me run, like these ones in the Python end, to be able to do all the processing and then update the Redis which is really a data hub, and be able to keep that up to date, and then have the platform able to extract all the latest information or generate signals or whatever I want. And at the same time, once the the order signals pushed into Redis, I can then set up a listener on the Redis end and create a listener now within the code, the Java code that's embedded within the platform of MOTIVEWAVE as an example here, and then be able to push out orders. So that's one very powerful way of doing this. Another big advantage of, and I keep telling people this, is really the clients, because there's no other database out there that talks to so many languages. So I like my Python, I like my Java, and Redis is written in C and C++. For those that don't know, this thing is so endless with Redis. You can create modules, so you can now embed machine learning components or modules into Redis itself, the database, and be able to do things to embed neural Redis. You can embed a graph database as well. And I'll tell you something, a lot of people don't know this, but what keeps Goldman Sachs around is their enterprise level database over at Goldman Sachs called SecDB. I don't know if it's still valid or not, but during 2008, it was because of that database that was any strategy, any trading idea had to go through the SecDB to get approval and make sure it was in the compliance, all kinds of stuff. But that's using a graph concept. Plus, you can embed also your machine learning right into Redis itself. So essentially, you can embed the Redis capabilities of this machine learning right within the module itself, and then you can go crazy. You can embed Lewis scripts right into Redis. So that's the power. That's the reason why I like Redis. So now, as it's shaping out, now we have the ability to call through these studies. I'm hoping strategies as well. Be able to call Redis and connect into Redis and blow open a whole wide number of choices now using this powerful software. I mean, check it out on the variety of different features. and be able to connect it into Redis. And not only that, but other third-party Java jar files. So the caveat here is you always got to make sure whatever Java jar file you include may make your MOTIVEWAVE go crazy and do something abnormal. And you need to distinguish that between MOTIVEWAVE itself and the Java jar file, and not it's critical that you understand this, not to sit there and blame MOTIVEWAVE because of the problem. It's the coding at your end here on the Eclipse side, as well as a Java jar file may have some problems as well. So if this feature ever becomes available, always make sure you acknowledge that responsibility to ensure that MOTIVEWAVE is not the problem, which I don't think it will, and always look at your code and always make sure you understand that the Java jar files now you include with this new capability, not to blame MOTIVEWAVE or it's not fair to them. But the power of this is very powerful, and originally up until this point, I can see why maybe they don't want the capability of allowing people that don't have a lot of knowledge or experience with Java or programming in general to include external Java jar files from other platforms or frameworks, because they'll blame MOTIVEWAVE is the problem. It's not the problem of MOTIVEWAVE or the support of MOTIVEWAVE. It's the Java jar file that you're importing in that's external outside of MOTIVEWAVE. And that's really important to understand that from an architecture standpoint. So they have the capability, or maybe they may make it public, I don't know, but I have the capability. I want to show that to you, but always respect that with these guys are awesome to be able to make this happen for little old me, and I'm very indebted for that. But essentially, this is an amazing platform now, and it just gives me a whole ton of ideas now on how to embed my Redis into this platform, because, as I said, you can do so many powerful things with this software, especially the Ultimate Edition. For the money, what you're paying, it's nothing. And now, as I said, I have the capabilities to connect into IQFeed, which I've never been able to done out of the 10 years I've been doing this on a Mac, let alone on a Windows, but on a Mac. It's an unbelievable capability. And now we have this to glue it all together and include an amazing, true open source NoSQL database like Redis, and whatever databases you choose. You know me, and I've converted many people, and they see the reason why I use Redis, because it's true open source. And the fine folks over at Redis, like Salvatore, is banging out some wild stuff out of. I think he's one of the best developers on the planet with his capabilities. And I do think he's going to go down as a living legend as a programmer from the database side, and really giving a guy like Larry Ellison over at Oracle a run for his money. On the database front, because this is powerful. And I want to remind you, this is a simple MacBook Pro, 4 years old, with only 4 megs of RAM. I can do all of this stuff on a little Mac, and it's just amazing. I don't think you can do that as much and get the efficiency on a Windows system as you do here on a 4 meg system. So I got to salute again everybody at MOTIVEWAVE for making this. Hopefully you see the power of this. We can make it happen, and this is why I think 2019 is going to be a powerful year now. Over and out, and we shall talk to you later. Have a good day. Hello, everybody. I forgot to mention in this video about all my elite followers, members. If you are an elite member, we have the course Interactive Brokers API Workshop Bootcamp. So I forgot to mention this. It's very important. With MOTIVEWAVE and IQFeed on top of Redis, we now have, because MOTIVEWAVE does talk to Redis now, you can see the power of this, just to extend out the capabilities of MOTIVEWAVE with Redis. So in here, this is just from version 3 of Redis. We have a variety of different things we can include for your design patterns, the L push and L range, the pub sub that I've shown, but I have not played with the streaming yet. Also, we've got, as you know, the ability to design a message queue, as well as pushing out orders from either Java on the Python side and pipe it through Redis, but now we can pipe it through MOTIVEWAVE. And there's a lot of power here, so I just wanted to mention that what I've just came across in this discovery can be added to this course, which I most likely will, the various demos of that, and add new content to this course that's available to all of you or that are thinking about joining the elite service, because this is going to give you an amazing, a huge edge from the technology side with interactive brokers, and giving you the huge amount of leverage that MOTIVEWAVE brings. So again, thanks to everybody, especially at MOTIVEWAVE, for making this happen. And Redis Existing, the folks over at IQFeed, again, for enabling that now on a Mac with MOTIVEWAVE, and of course Salvatore and Redis on the team over at Redis for all this combining, because it's going to get really exciting with in 2019. Over and out.